All right, so you're thinking about making a move out to Tacoma, but the idea of maybe the living in the big city or just being too around much busyness, hey, that's just not your vibe. Maybe you're looking for a special kind of school for your kids. Maybe you work from home and you really have the freedom to have any type of life that you want. Well, in this video, I'm going to help you discover some different towns around the city of Tacoma that so many people are moving to give you a better idea of some places that are maybe an alternative to the city. So if that's something you're into, stick around. We're getting after it right now. Hey, my name is Austin. Chris, myself, and our team, we're getting phone calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move out to the Tacoma area, and we literally love it. So we're looking at making your move here in the next 3 days or 3 months. Go ahead and shoot us a phone call, text, or an email, even better. Book that Zoom call for us. And hey, if you want to know everything going on in our local market, smash that subscribe button. That way you're never going to miss another video. All right, so our next suburb of Tacoma that people seem to be flocking out to is Bonney Lake, Washington. We're actually sitting here on the front porch of my property in a cute little master plan community called Tehaleh. This is actually one of the things that separates Bonney Lake from really any other suburb of Tacoma that we're seeing a lot of people move into. You know, unlike Texas, the Midwest, and some other areas, there's a lot of ground. Out here in Washington, you're not gonna see a ton of master planned communities. You know, the land just really isn't available. Out to the west, we have the water, and to the east, we have the mountains. So being able to find a big chunk of land that is not yet developed, pretty few and far between anymore. Except right here in Bonney Lake, there are several big master plan communities. Tehaleh, this one right here, is easily the biggest, followed probably by Falling Water, which is up the road a couple of miles. That's pretty sweet because you're a little closer to town than you are out here in Tehaleh. So outside of, you know, the big master plan communities, what makes Bonney Lake special? Well, part of it is the fact that it's a small town. There are only about 20,000 people that live inside of Bonney Lake. Also, you have Lake Tapps, which is one of the best lakes around the Tacoma area in general. Lake Tapps is glacier fed, and as soon as summer gets here, that place absolutely takes off. So whether you're into boating, swimming, kayaking, paddle boards, hitting the jet skis, or just laying around in the water, Lake Tapps is a place that people flock to, and they also love to live around. Some of the most gorgeous real estate in all of Pierce County surrounds Lake Tapps, which makes it an ideal location for so many folks. As a father of 5, how do I feel about their school system? Well, that's where I put our kids in school. The Sumner Bonney Lake school system has been incredible for us. Like, we packed up everything, moved from Missouri out here. We wanted to have a similar feel to what we were used to out in the Midwest, but we wanted to have education that provided more for our children. Right now, I've got a daughter that's getting a ton of scholarship offers from different schools all across the country. Another one that's going to finish school with a 2-year associate's degree, and our oldest son actually was able to graduate a year sooner than we had planned. So if school is high on your priority list, I think this is definitely one of the suburbs around Tacoma that you're going to want to take a look into. Keeping it real though, it's not all sunshine and rainbows out here in Bonney Lake, no matter how pretty it looks. There's not a lot of restaurants, there's not a lot of shopping, so you're probably going to want to leave town if you're going to go on a date night. If you're really big into nightlife, Bonney Lake's not going to be for you. The other thing too is you're about 16 miles away from Tacoma, and the 410 here, that traffic can suck, especially during, you know, rush hour times. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you plan for that kind of thing if you're deciding to stay in this area when you move to Tacoma. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump in my Challenger. We're gonna drive around here, let you get a look at some of the houses, and then we are going to hop in the computer and look at the MLS and see what prices of homes look like and what that trend has been over the past 10 plus years. So you know if it's a good area to invest in, and that's going to be the pattern that we're gonna follow throughout the course of this video and as we look at our next 4 communities. So let's go. All right, so here we're taking a look at Bonney Lake. Now, we've got this set up for the past 10 years. And I just want to look at the average sales price here. Not only are these communities fantastic to live in, but they're also amazing investments. Look at Bonney Lake here. So this is the first one that we're looking at. You see back in 2006, the average home was $308,000. And now you're looking at about $635,000. So homes have more than doubled in the last 20 years in Bonney Lake, meaning you've seen some big moves. Now remember, 2006 was also the time when we were starting to see some of those looser terms with mortgages. So what I really like to look at is, I like to look at my progression from about 2014 to 2015, when we were coming out of that financial crisis. So if you go back to 2014, you're at about $256,000. And if you've held it since then, you're coming up at about $635,000, and that's pretty amazing. If you look at a house, it's a 3-bedroom home, residential, average is about $570,000. So you can get in a nice home here in Bonney Lake anywhere from about low $600,000 to high $800,000. Of course, if you do hit up places like Lake Tapps and Tehaleh, Sky Island, you could be paying a little bit more. Now, as far as shopping with homes on the market, you can see there's really been a big trend. Bonney Lake has really picked up in popularity. Again, starting around 2014, 2015, you're looking at about 30 days on market for the average house. And, now you got about 2 weeks to pull the trigger. And that is something that we're seeing pretty regularly, is homes are coming on the market in Bonney Lake. More and more people are wanting to get here, and they're ultimately getting the deal done. And this is something else that's really interesting, is the average home in Bonney Lake is getting still 100% of ask price and even a little bit over. So if you're looking at moving, out to the Tacoma area, and Bonney Lake is one of the places that you're really interested in, I would say just be prepared that people are getting asking price. This is not one of the markets that has struggled like so many others across the country. All right, so I don't know how many videos I'm going to make that have Sumner, Washington in them, but it seems like everyone that I do starts off with this little mural right here behind me. It says, "Home is wherever I am when I'm with you." I absolutely love this. In fact, Sumner was one of the first towns I ever visited when I came to Washington. I flew directly into SeaTac, and then I came down here and I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, actually, off of the 167 right here in Sumner. When I brought my wife in, we found this mural, and I actually have a picture of her in front of it because, Elena's my freaking world. And no matter where we're at, that's home to me. And it's funny that after we'd visited and we took the photo here, that not too long down the road, we ended up moving out to Washington. How crazy is that? Here's the really crazy thing about Sumner, Washington, for me personally, is this town really feels like where I grew up. I grew up in a small town in Kansas that had a very Main Street feel. In fact, on that Main Street was the hardware store, the auto parts store, which my dad's best friend owned, the Dairy Queen, the Video for Less, where I could rent a Nintendo game or a Sega game every Friday as long as, my grades didn't suck. And I have a very big connection with Sumner because of that. Sumner really embodies that small town feel. And I think if you're wanting to live somewhere, close to Tacoma, like 12 miles, 10 miles away, but you don't want to live in a city, this is probably your best bet. Just down the way here is actually a commuter train station that will take you from here up to Seattle. So if you're working in the city, which is amazing to have. Like most Main Street America towns, Sumner is big on celebrating really hyper local events. So they have rhubarb pie days here. This is like the rhubarb capital of the world. Cute little festival. Homecoming parades are a big deal. Just down the way here is the football stadium, and Friday night football is still a huge deal here in Sumner. So if that Main Street lifestyle, that small town feel is something that really resonates with you, I think this is probably a suburb that's going to hit home. All right, taking a look here at Sumner, you see the average price point right now is sitting at $524,518. So this is really cool because at one point, Sumner was actually the most expensive area price per square foot in all of Pierce County. So you see that there at the end, there's a little bit of a drop off and we're starting to tick back up. I think that's pretty well in correlation with rates, but if you had bought in 2014, you'd be at about $229. So again, I love Sumner because I look at investments over a long period of time, and I do think your personal home is something that you should look at. And when people move out here, they're always like up in arms, like, holy cow, homes are so expensive. But this rate right here outpaces so much of the country. Most homes do not appreciate the way homes in our area do. Typically on average, over the past 30 years, homes here have appreciated by 400%. Looking at the percent of list price, again, you see just like Bonney Lake, because so many people are loving these smaller suburbs, they're digging this Main Street vibe just like I do. These people aren't having a hard time getting 100% of list price. I mean, all the way through, like back up until 2016, so you can see Sumner kind of coming out of the Great Recession, was building back up. This is 2016. 100% has not been an issue. Check this out. 2022 averaging 103%. So, I mean, I think this is a great community for buying a house in at that price point. It's also awesome. Check this out too. Days on market for your average house in Sumner is down to 9. So what that means is when we're coming out here to shop, we've got to be Johnny on the spot. I say when you come out, bring a list of all the homes you're interested in. Night 1, go drive those in neighborhoods. And then day 2, after you've eliminated the ones you don't like, let's go look at them and see if it makes sense as this being, a property that we should put an offer in. Because while we've seen a little bit of an uptick in days on market, you definitely don't want to fly back out to Tennessee and then miss the home of your dreams. Here is something unique about Sumner. You see less and less homes on the market, and this means sort of why you have that balance of the prices keep skyrocketing, because inventory just keeps kind of trickling down, right? Just less homes, less homes, less homes, less homes. And as that happens, just your basic supply and demand are going to take over, and it's going to be a more competitive market. Now, of course, for you, shopping from wherever you're at home, like we have a lot of time. Most of our clients are moving out here from 3 months to 9 months. So it's nothing I would be too terrified about. But Sumner is a strong market. It's been a strong market over time. And I think it's definitely a place that you can see some big value and big growth for yourself in. I swear, like literally anytime I film in Puyallup, there is someone with a leaf blower. I think when I did my vlog tour, there was like a train coming through. It just like every time I'm at Pioneer Park, it's dead silent. But if I've got to film something, there's always something blowing or making sounds. If you're wanting to live around Tacoma, but you don't want to be dependent on the city at all, this is one of the best places you could live. See, Puyallup really has it all. They've got a mall, they've got all the major shopping, they've got a fantastic downtown. You can actually live in Puyallup and never need to travel into the city of Tacoma. And I think that is one of the biggest pluses for living in Puyallup. It is also one of the bigger suburbs of Tacoma. This one's about 43,000 people, and you kind of feel it. Like there's just more to do, there's more going on, there's more happening around town. Puyallup also has an amazing location because you really kind of have easy access both into Tacoma and into Seattle by several different routes, including highways. Behind me over here, you're gonna see Anthem Coffee. That's one of my favorite coffee shops. And in fact, our next door neighbor owns this place. So it's really a pretty cool place to be a small business owner. You have the West Pioneer Grill right over here. And then Meridian, this road that runs kind of this way, is going to be your main streets. Now, beautiful, absolutely stunning. Lots of cool places to hang out like the Forum. But I gotta tell you, when rush hour traffic hits, that is a terrible road to have to drive down. And that is about one of the only negatives I really have for Puyallup. Homes here are priced fantastic. Like some of the best home prices for the entire Seattle-Tacoma area. Especially if you buy a home down in South Hill, you can get into a really nice home for a little over $500,000, which is a lot cheaper than most areas, especially the ones we're looking at today. Right here at Pioneer Park, if you look down, you see this building in the background. There's always a giant farmer's market that goes on all through the season, I think up until about October, before it finally cuts off. Fresh produce, amazing vendors, even better people, and it's open on the weekends, so you can take the kids. My wife loves to grab some of the dried flowers from there. It's one of her favorite things that Puyallup has. It's so much easier going up to Pike Place up in Seattle and picking them up there. Puyallup is also home to the Washington State Fair. It's just down the way here. You see the library behind me. If you just keep cruising down that way, you're running to the state fairgrounds. This brings people from honestly all over Washington and Oregon, some in from Idaho. It really draws a huge crowd to the Puyallup area. Now, it's so much fun. There's a lot of cool rides, amazing vendors. The only downside to that, of course, is you have a town of 45,000 people, and you have a major influx of humans coming into town. So just like everywhere else, really, outside of maybe Sumner and Steilacoom that we're talking about, traffic, again, could be an issue here in Puyallup. A bonus for my fellow parents out there is the Puyallup School District is also excellent. Now, University Place is ranked as the #1 in all of Pierce County, but the Puyallup School District is a little bit more conservative than other school districts in the area. So if that fits more of your vibe, a little bit more of a conservative viewpoint for your kids growing up, then Puyallup is probably someplace that you need to check out. So now kind of an idea of what Puyallup is like, let's hop in the car, drive around, and take a look at some of these homes out here. All right, now remember what I said about Puyallup is that there is a bigger variety of options for housing in the area. You've got these tiny, older, like craftsman homes. KB Homes has a new home development there. There are even a big stretch of like horse and equestrian properties in Puyallup, and it stretches out with South Hill and all of the little suburban communities there. So I do think that to some extent, like this is showing the average price point at $498,000. That's quite a bit lower than the rest, but I do want you to take that with a grain of salt. Let's look at that because Puyallup also has more condos than any of the rest of the places that we looked at. So yeah, can you find an amazing home in Puyallup for $500,000? Absolutely. Most of our clients end up somewhere between $550,000 and $600,000. I think this number is just a little bit skewed, but it should be hopeful because you're looking at the other places that are, $675,000, $690,000. So to see $500,000, like Puyallup has a little bit of a discounted market, and again, it has everything you need. You don't have to ever leave Puyallup. This has got great schools. It's got a mall. It's got all the shopping you need. So it is a fantastic place. Now, as far as new homes hitting the market, new listings are somewhere around 854 for the year. Right now on homes for sale, there is 90. So again, this is a bigger space, a bigger market. So if you're looking for a place that gives you a little more inexpensive options and more homes to choose from, boom, Puyallup is the bomb. And that is actually down 40%. So lots and lots and lots of options. Homes in Puyallup are also going to give you slightly a little bit more to work with. Again, in 2014, it was 19. It's down to 11 now. This comes from the fact that this community just has more homes on the market than the rest. And when there are more homes in the market, you get a little bit more time. So this should be a good place for you to look as far as, what you're getting in 2024. Percentage of what people are getting sits at about 100% again here. I just want to bring this, while you're looking at this, homes here are getting 100% of what they're asking. So this is completely dependent of the market that you're coming from. You could be getting big $40,000, $50,000 chunks off, but if you're coming out here to the greater Tacoma area, we're just not seeing those deals happen. This is the data that is going to show you that and give you some ideas. And at any point in time, we can always look at this throughout your process of moving. We check the market every day. We are market experts. That's what we do. That's why you've got to reach out to us. So Puyallup, a little bit stronger, a little more home to choose from, and a little bit more expensive. Could be a gem there in the rough. On to the next one. Out here by the old Bear Drugstore, this was put together in 1895. Right here in Steilacoom. This is one of the coolest little towns in all of the Pacific Northwest that you have absolutely got to know about. This little town is about 7,000 people. It's got a very sparse suburban feel. Over here you got kids playing basketball, skateboarding. This little town has a very, very highly rated public school that is a huge draw for a lot of people. Like a couple of the other areas that I showed you already, Steilacoom is again a very hyper local type of place. There is an absolutely epic fall festival here in October, and the farmers market over the summer is second only to the one out in Puyallup, in my opinion. And of course, the residents here of Steilacoom would completely object to that opinion. But I love, once again, just having the super hyper local hometown feel. If you look like right back over there, you're gonna see a bunch of little local restaurants and little shops up there between Lafayette and the Main Street area. And this is, again, like Sumner, has that Main Street feel. The only difference here is this right here. You're literally right on the water. This is easily the quietest town that I've shown you throughout this series right here, in the top places to live around Tacoma. This is also, I think, the most well-connected and integrated town. So If you really want to be by the water and you're thinking that more of a small town, all right, when we dive into Steilacoom here, you're going to see a market that is very closely portrayed to what you're going to find in University Place, because UP is just north of Steilacoom. Chambers Bay kind of fits in the middle. They both are waterfront. They both have a lot of active golfers. The biggest difference is that Steilacoom is just a smaller town. Again, like only about 7,000 people. But a lot of the homes here do have great views of the water as they're built up on a hill. So you're going to see a lot of the same types of facts as you're going to see in University Place. And here you see back again in 2014, a home price of about $281,000. And now here we go, basically $675,000 and already trending back up for the year. That's pretty crazy, seeing from November to January, you already saw an uptick in the home prices in Steilacoom. Obviously, being a smaller town, there are going to be less homes and less opportunities. If you look here right now, we've got 3. That's not a lot. So three homes on the market that we can work through and pick over. Now, here's the great thing about places like Steilacoom is these markets that have very few homes available, we can actually use some of our systems that we have to prospect and look for off-market deals. That means homes that aren't on the MLS. We know a lot of investors, a lot of wholesalers, and Chris usually has a few deals in his back pocket. So don't let this number scare you. It just means that we might have to go to work at a little different angle to help you secure a house out of Steilacoom. Now, as far as days on the market for a house here, again, it's only a week. And we've just seen this trend drop and drop and drop and drop. Even in 2021, around COVID, we were seeing a few more days on market than we're even seeing now. This market is just getting swallowed up. And, because of this, when we look at the percent of list price, people are once again in this market getting 100% of what they're asking for their home. And here's the thing, don't look at these facts and think, my gosh, I'm gonna have to pay a little more for my house. I actually want to show you this because I want you to know that when you're going to sell your home down the road and we're ready to move and make the next move, that you'll also be able to get close to 100% if the property's priced right, or maybe even better. So it should be, a positive thing, not a negative thing. And Steilacoom is a very popular area. Again, you're only seeing about 8 showings per house before it goes under contract. That is crazy fast, and it's exciting. So this is where, Chris's negotiation skills really come in super strong to help us get these homes locked down. And at the same time, down the road, if you're ever ready to move, we got a strong case there. So, all right, on to our next suburb. If you head as far west as you possibly can, right before you're under the water, you're going to end up right here. This is University Place. Behind me, you're going to see the stunning University Place Public Library and Happy Duo Coffee, one of my favorite coffee shops in the entire PNW. And I mean, what kind of video about Washington would this be if we didn't talk about coffee a little bit, right? This little downtown space you see right here behind me and going over here is sort of the newer heart of University Place. Once pretty small town is one of the fastest growing now in the entire area of Tacoma. Along the strip right here, you have everything from a ton of different restaurants to your own Whole Foods, your library, your coffee shops, condos, workouts, public parking, and really anything that you need to just kind of get through the day and enjoy life in a suburban environment. Okay, so maybe the library is not your vibe and you don't have kids to bring here. Maybe you're into golf. Chambers Bay is one of the best golf courses on the West Coast. Absolutely stunning. There have even been professional PGA events held there. It's a Scottish-style links course with stunning views of the Sound, and just a little bit up north, there's this cool little playground and a really neat trail. So if you're, got kiddos or you're just looking to maybe take a walk, take a stroll by the water, it's a really fantastic place. I have one in particular client, Les, that moved up here from Orlando, Florida. He bought a house out in Fircrest, and yet he comes out here to hit Chambers Bay Park to do his runs. If you're not familiar with Chambers Bay, that's something I need you to just go ahead after this video and take a peek at it. I think you'll be really impressed. As with a lot of people that we have move here from out of state, schools is something that really stands out. And whether it's because you have kids that you're gonna put in school, or whether it's just looking at the resale value of the home you could be buying, this is something that is super important. According to niche.com, and of course, anyone that lives here in University Place, this is the #1 public school district in all of Pierce County. Kids flourish here. They have a lot of great programs. Just hop on the niche.com and look up University Place schools for yourself. I think you'll be absolutely astounded at how great they are. And also on this side, the west side of Tacoma, there are a lot of just private schools in general as well that are great options. And this is why you got to reach out to us. Chris and I are both dads. We both have school-age kids, and we know these school districts in and out. We're not going to go too far and deep on schools in these videos, but one-on-one, we can really help you figure out the right area to move in and buy a home in that will help your kids excel in the way that you're looking for them to do in their individual ways. Also, you really can't beat that you're only a 15-minute drive into Tacoma. So a lot of residents here in University Place live here in UP and drive into the city, and it's a much easier drive than pretty much, I honestly believe, than any of those suburbs that I've shown you that are on the east side. I think these two west side ones that we're showing you, University Place and Steilacoom, have a lot easier travel into their neighborhoods. So I think UP is great. It also has sort of that north of Seattle feel. So if you're into the Bellevue type environment, the really nice areas, but you don't want to spend the money, University Place is got to be it. So let's go check out some UP homes.
All right, so looking at University Place, as you've seen this community, like I said before, it's one that is in high demand with the great schools, being closer to the water, having more, waterfront opportunities. And because of that, the values in University Place make it another one of those towns that I'm super excited to tell you is a again, I think a good investment for your family. If we look back at that coming out of the Great Recession, it's about $258,000 for your typical home on average. And if we look now at where we're at in 2024, it's up to $651,000. So a big jump like that is triple the property values in that amount of years. So again, I think UP is definitely a place that has some opportunities, both with the top-rated schools, with the golf courses, with the waterfront properties, and you can see a lot of those prices increase. And actually, if we check out the waterfront homes, you can see the average right now is 1.5 million. And I know that sounds heavy, but when I'm looking at waterfront properties in other parts of the Puget Sound, it's actually a really conservative number. You're not gonna find a Bellevue house on the east side. You're not gonna find a waterfront property in Seattle that you're gonna be able to walk away from at 1.5 million. Like, it's just not going to happen. So if you are in that $1.5 million range, not only have you had great appreciation over time, but you can get some, sound front property, some waterfront property at a pretty big discount here compared to King County. Now, University Place kind of does fall into that same category as Sumner, where you're seeing considerably less properties come on the market. Right now there is 12 last accounted for. That is not a whole lot of active listings to work for through all different construction types. And that means your luxury waterfront, your traditional homes, and this is even including condominiums. So if we went further, again, there's gonna be less options. Days on market with this, 7 days, 1 week. Homes here hit the market in UP and they are just gone. So if this is an area you're interested in, this is something that we need to be on the ball with. We'll of course get your search set up in the MLS for you after we do our Zoom call. And if you see a property that really hits, it really makes sense for you, like, we've got to be on the ball with it in UP for sure. And with only having 7 days on the market, there are more people that are being more aggressive out on University Place. So typically there are only 14 showings before a house is going to go under contract out here in University Place. And think about that. If the showings start at 8 a.m. and end at 8 p.m. and they're done every 30 minutes essentially, especially through that first weekend, that does not give us much time. So fantastic area to invest in. I think it would be a beautiful place to grow up, but this is one of the top markets outside of Tacoma, and we're gonna have to be on the ball.
All right, well, there you have it. Sorry, I'm kind of squinty. The sun is so bright today. Those are 5 different towns that I think that you might like living right outside of Tacoma. So again, whether you're looking at making that move here in the next couple days, the next few months, reach out to us. And until next time, I cannot wait till you're out here so we can show you around. Wait, there's another video getting ready to start. You're gonna wanna check that out.